What is up, guys? Jason up, New Age Revolution down here in the cave. Yes, that's right. In the cave. Finally, right? It's been a little while. A couple of weeks or maybe 10 days or so since the last video. That's right. I got you all worked up with the contest and then, or the tournament, and then just disappeared again. Yeah. A brief hiatus. All right, tonight we are going to do the much anticipated quarterfinals. Quarterfinals, the round of 8, ladies and gentlemen. Rate the eight of my favorite LJN figures are ready to square off, and there are two very, 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 very heartbreaking matchups tonight. And I don't know how I'm going to decide until I'm deciding. First, what's coming up? So my friend Tom Strickland, who's responsible for the artwork of some of the t-shirts on TeePublic of mine, the New Age Revolution WrestleMania style shirt and the Collecting is Half the Battle shirt, that's all Tom Strickland. There's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one over there on TeePublic, New Age Revolution in TMNT font. That's all Tom Strickland. He texted me the other day and gave me an idea for another Whatever Happened To, but it's kind of like an all-encompassing Whatever Happened To. And we'll get into it. We'll do it. We'll do the show. It's kind of just like Whatever Happened To, period. In general, all the good stuff. Where did it go? And the thing that I'll lead off with during that episode, the thing that prompted it was his local Pizza Hut stripped all the booths out and is now takeout only, right? So he, that just depressed him. Like, come on, now Pizza Hut's gone, or Pizza Hut is shifting to, takeout only because nobody eats in restaurants anymore. And I don't think it just had to do with COVID. I think COVID made people think about not having customers and just surviving without dine-in or things like that. And then I want to talk about the total lack of physical media. I think it's going to be gone in a couple of years. Blu-rays. I'll talk about, I've been looking for a movie on DVD or Blu-ray, and Walmart has about an aisle and a half, if that, of movies, and Best Buy has even less now. And let's talk about all the stuff that's missing, right? So that's going to be like an all-encompassing Whatever Happened To. We're going to do Wrestling with the Past. We're going to talk about October 1984, the week, one straight week in October, like we did previously before the show went away. Some fun things happening in the WWF in October of 1984. But first, before all that, let's do the tournament. So let's get right into it. Let's jump right into it. We brought back Terry Funk as a wild card, and he is taking on Kamala in the quarterfinals. And, Funk's going to win. Funk's going to win this match, but it's not a landslide. It is not a landslide. If this was like a voting, if this was like an election, it would probably be 70-30, maybe 65-35, which I don't think is a landslide. Like 90-10 is a landslide. I'd say 65-35. Kamala is a good figure. I have so much love for this figure. And when I got him, in like 87 or so, I just made him a beast. Like, I just made him a vicious bad guy who was more reminiscent of like the 84, 85 Kamala, when you were like legitimately terrified of him. It's just a good figure. I always laughed about the lack of undergarments and just just the androgynous. Is that the word, androgynous? Maybe. Whatever. Terry Funk. Terry Funk is first ballot LJN Hall of Fame figure who, honestly, has been brought back into the tournament via the wild card. Terry Funk goes on over Kamala. It's not the easiest victory for Funk. It's not. Funk goes on. Funk goes on. Next match is one of the two that is going to give me some fits. It's Hulk Hogan taking on Junkyard Dog. Two just fantastic LJN figures. Absolutely perfect play poses. Just great figures overall. Again, really representative of the LJN wrestling superstar toy line. These two figures, really represent the toy line, like I just said. They're just great. They're great figures. Look, the only thing that's Hogan's going to move on. Hogan is going to defeat the Junkyard Dog. Hogan is going to be tough to beat. And I don't want everybody to think like, oh, of course, Hulk Hogan. You gotta remember, like this, first of all, this was the first figure I ever had. This is the LJN line. This is probably one of the top 5 or top 10, I would say, toy representations of the entire 80s. I would say this is one of the top 10 cultural visual representations of the 80s. Okay, arcade machines, maybe a Rubik's Cube, a Hulk Hogan, an Atari, things like that. A console TV, maybe a VCR. Even, come on. The belt, the beautiful championship belt. Junkyard Dog is absolutely, Junkyard Dog made it to the final 8, right? And for not even my favorite character, not even close. I don't love the Junkyard Dog as an actual wrestler, right? He didn't do all that much for me as a wrestler, but it's a great figure. And when I look at it, it just brings back a ton of memories. But Hulk Hogan is Hulk Hogan. So the Hulkster moves on and defeats Terry Funk. Defeats Junkyard Dog for a spot in the semifinals. Okay. Ricky Steamboat is taking on Bruno Sammartino. And, I don't want to fly through these. I'm only at 7 minutes in. I don't want to fly through these. But I've talked about the importance of each one of these figures. And Bruno is a great looking figure, right? I've said before, it absolutely, this pose, with the big backside and just the bulkiness. This is Bruno Sammartino, right? This is almost better than like the Jakks classic superstar figure. Well, it is better, hands down, but like the face, right? We're not talking real scan technology here. The big schnozola there on Bruno. I love it. I love this figure, and I had so much fun. And I think that's why I brought him back, because what 12 or 13-year-old brings back Bruno Sammartino? I've only seen him, like when I was a kid, I only saw him wrestle, for a brief time in '85 when he came back for a little while. So, I don't have a ton of, knowledge about Bruno. And I don't even like the wrestler. I think his matches are horrible. Right? But this was such a fun figure, and he was a great bad guy for me. But Ricky Steamboat with the, not so perfect play pose, I can't describe why this figure is going on to the semifinals. I can't describe why, but it just got so much play. It is such a plain figure. It's just such a baseline, all black, 2 open hands, 1 hand low. Like, this is not a good hand for play, right? But I'm telling you, man, Ricky Steamboat got so much action in my federation. He's one of my top 10, probably best wrestlers of all time. Not favorite wrestlers, but best wrestlers. Ricky Steamboat. He's got to probably be in the top 5 best wrestlers of all time in my era. I'm not including current, Kenny Omega type stuff, but again, not a landslide by any means, and probably even closer than Funk and Kamala. But Ricky Steamboat is going to defeat Bruno Sammartino. So Steamboat moves on, and the final quarterfinal match hurts, and I'm going to lose sleep tonight. I'm going to stare at the ceiling tonight. I'm gonna toss and turn. I'm gonna get up and take a stroll around the neighborhood at 2:00 in the morning to clear my thoughts, because it's gonna hurt me to choose the winner between Greg Valentine and Randy Savage. Greg Valentine eliminated Terry Funk from this tournament, who, honestly, when I first thought of this idea, I thought that Terry Funk was going to win this whole thing hands down, which is not the case. He was eliminated by Greg Valentine and then brought back as a wild card. My goodness. I mean, this is such... this figure has so much history, so much play, such a great pose. I have said this over and over again. Oh, God, it's just such a good figure. It is such a good figure. For play, it is such a good figure. The amount of action that this figure got, just, again, I think I've said, if you count up, if there was a way that I could go back and count up all the matches that I had with every figure, I think Greg Valentine and Tito Santana would probably be tied for most matches in my childhood, right? And maybe Ricky Steamboat. Greg Valentine is so good. But he's taking on Randy Savage. And there's something special about this figure. There's something special about the silhouette of this figure. There's just something... Man, when I would play with this figure, I don't know. It's just hard to describe. It's hard to describe. And I wish that I could really just put into words the thoughts, but I can't. There was just something special about this figure. Good guy, bad guy, classic matches with Steamboat, Santana, Hogan, so much. World champion, intercontinental champion, accompanied to the ring by the lovely Elizabeth. But Greg the Hammer Valentine, though, so much play. So much play. Guys, it's hard. I mean, it is hard. I feel like I felt when I did Valentine and Funk. And according to the draw, Funk is going to take on the winner of this matchup anyway. So, I don't know. I really don't. I mean, okay, so Valentine's taller than he should be, I guess. But that's not how we judge it. I don't know. I guess by a score of 51-49. Or 50-50 with some, write-in ballots putting it over. By a hair, ladies and gentlemen, by a hair. I just want to say Greg Valentine. Everything inside of me is saying Greg Valentine, but I don't know if that's right. I don't know if that's right. Holy cow. I'm not editing this out. You're going to watch this whole painful indecision process. I know you're screaming Randy Savage. I know you are. I know you are. But you got to realize how special Greg Valentine, the figure, is to me. I can't decide. Randy Savage defeats Greg Valentine by a hair. I don't know. Randy Savage. I looked at Savage's face, and it's a perfect face. Like, it's a perfect Randy Savage face, perfect Randy Savage mouth. It's Randy Savage. That's Greg Valentine. I got to stick with it. I can't. I'll flip flop all day. Randy Savage defeats Greg Valentine. That one hurts. Here's the matchups. Here it is for your semis. Terry Funk. Terry Funk is taking on Randy Savage. Hulk Hogan is taking on Ricky Steamboat. That's it. There's our final four. Funk, Hogan, Steamboat, Savage. And Greg Valentine, depending on what mood I'm in. I'll tell you right now, depending on where my thoughts go on that particular night when we decide the winners of the semis and the finals all in one video, anyone can win this. I am not looking at a particular figure and saying that they're going to win it. Anybody can win this. Anybody can win this. Stay tuned. Come back. We'll do the semis and the finals this weekend. I gotta go for a walk. I'm spent. Good night now.